So far, this couples retreat has given us the opportunity to connect and learn more about not only our relationship, but also ourselves and areas that
where we have troubles, where,
where we kind of get stuck. And definitely learned ways to be able to get past that stuckness, which is really important. The people running this retreat have been incredible, and they've been really kind and empathetic and helpful for us. And we're really excited for what comes next in the next retreat too.
We actually got into couples counseling about 5 months into our relationship and learned a lot about how to communicate and recognize our own needs and lack of connection. And now, over a year into our relationship, doing this couples retreat is a great way to kind of touch base on a lot of the core values that we want to implement into our relationship. And key takeaways from this experience has been really how our love maps and rituals of connection form such a bond and foundation, and really just allowing us to reconnect and giving us a lot of strength and recognize how to communicate in an effective way where our needs are heard, understood, and validated, and really just understanding my role and accountability and everything, and how to really approach the relationship from a compassionate, vulnerable, and empathetic place.
One of our biggest takeaways is that using these correct tools of communication, we can get through any problem together. And it's not just what we learned, it's about implementing it constantly throughout our relationship and making our relationship the number one priority in our lives and not letting it be secondary.
Hi, we're at our second annual couples retreat for Constantly Healthy, and we're learning a bunch of new takeaways this year. A big one about boundaries and certain things, negative cycles to take back. To not only team up with each other, but also to bring back with our kids and implement that in our parenting. And it's definitely brought us closer.
Absolutely. A lot of basics that we're going over again for a second time, then as a refresh, and then implementation of the new stuff that we're learning, which has just been awesome. We're super thankful to be here.
So some of our biggest takeaways so far is, one, I'm learning about myself and I'm learning about how my belief system is within our relationship. I'm also learning that he is my biggest ally, my best friend, and I have to use that as a strength in our relationship. And I'm learning about also perpetual problems and then solvable problems and what that means and looks like in our relationship and how to break those cycles. So.
Yeah, and I think for me, you were talking about the perpetual and solvable problems. The perpetual problems, we learn how to integrate those into the relationship so they become the roots of your relationship, and they're less problems and more, connections for the relationship. And I guess another big takeaway for me is, we haven't been here as long as some of the other couples, and but still, as a preventative maintenance sort of thing, this has been a huge help to us. And we think, we're happy and our relationship is good, and most of the time. And it's hard to take a step back unless you do something intensive like this and say, these problems that we're having, it's not just her, maybe it's not just me. Sometimes the problems are outside of our control, and you do have to look within yourself and look from an objective perspective to really get an idea of, how you can sustain a solid relationship.
And we're definitely getting the techniques to take home. So that's the biggest takeaway, real techniques we can take home.
We've been using the material and it works.
Yes.
And it was difficult, right? Because we met a lot of counseling over the years, and it's the same old talking heads, and this is
very different.
gets real down to the
Yes.
issues core, and give you tools to actually implement on a daily basis to try and
Correct.
better communicate and effectuate a relationship.
So this conference was fabulous, amazing refresher for us just to keep reminding us the tools that we need to use every day in order to communicate better. Because it's not, the biggest takeaway is it is not about the issues, it's about how we handle them and how we communicate. And that's everything. So, right?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Your energy.
Thank you
efforts.
for teaching us how to communicate.